Welcome to the last episode of Season 1 of our show Vamonos. In this episode, we feature Passion for Fashion with a fun DIY Christmas sweater video by Coral, our Caminos Book Club featuring a reading of Mexican American Sonnet by Iliana Rocha, an original song performance by our own Aren Pao Gautier, the return of the Caminos Business Insight with caminante Marina Kinzy interviewing Austin's beloved theater director Rudy Ramirez. We also have our Music Minutes Christmas edition by Elizabeth Diaz, a preview of the Caminos 2020 digital art exhibit, and a few other seasonal surprises for you. So grab your favorite mug, bundle up, y vámonos!
My name is Rudy Ramirez, and I am a director of theater. I work professionally. In Austin, I've worked with The Vortex, as well as a number of other theater companies like Teatro Vivo, Shrewd Productions, Sky Candy. I've worked professionally for Southwestern University as a guest director. I've worked with some groups in San Antonio, as well as some groups in other parts of the country, like with the Lark and the Parsnip Ship in New York, with the Playwright Center in Minneapolis. I mostly develop new plays and occasionally even new musicals. So I work a lot with writers to help them realize that first vision of the play that they want to create. And I do it because, for the very simple reason that it's the thing that makes me the happiest. I love theater because it's a collaborative art form. It's one where we're all working together to make this show happen. We do it live and in person, so you have to have the audience there, and they give you energy, and you give them energy, and there's something very present about it that is really nice. And I think that it gives us a unique chance to think about what happens when we do come together as a group, whether it's to experience art or to do something else.
Awesome. That's good motivation to be doing it. That's pretty cool. I think of it as like a higher form of like TV, because it's kind of like more, even though you don't really interact with the actors on the stage, it's more personal, I feel like it can impact people more when it happens in front of them and it's actually happening,
Yeah. I think you're absolutely right. It's funny that you say TV, particularly because right now so many playwrights are writing for television, and television is really kind of starting to give writers from theater the chance to kind of develop work for like streaming services, for networks, things like that. But I think that there's something very powerful about being in the space with somebody, and even if it's just one person on stage, and getting that experience of feeling that change happen all at once. What was life like before quarantine, in the before times? Extremely different from how it is now. Theater was really one of the first art forms to really bear the brunt of the quarantine. And we very quickly realized as a community internationally that not only were we going to have to shut down, but we'd have to shut down for a long time. Before quarantine, I was working on a show. I had just finished a show. I was working on a show. I was working on two shows actually. And they were going to be live and in person. One was going to be at the Vortex Theater in Austin. One was going to be at an outdoor theater space in Round Rock. And I was also going to be going to graduate school in Massachusetts this past fall semester. So I was like, thinking about preparing my journey up there as well. But then all that had to be very drastically readjusted in various ways.
See, I think the arts are probably what like had the biggest hit when COVID came, because a lot of it has to be, a lot of what art is like just human contact, human connection. And the fact that that's all virtual now, and it's just, virtual connection doesn't really replace it. So.
Yeah, it doesn't replace it. I do think that there is potential for something different and something new that you get in the virtual space. Like you and I are talking right now, where we might not have been able to do that, before in the same way. And we're all kind of like looking into each other's houses, which is really kind of weird, but also interesting and fun. And I really started seeking out, different kinds of Zoom theater that were, sort of saying like, all right, let's not pretend we're not on Zoom. So trying to pretend we're not on Zoom, we're just gonna like get frustrated, and instead think about what does the Zoom platform offer if we really look into it as its own medium, its own way of making art. And so that's been the saving grace of this for me.
That's an interesting take on it. Honestly, I've been super pessimistic about this whole Zoom thing. I've just been, I'm like, school is harder now. It's harder. Everything is much worse, but it's an interesting way to think about it. Like, it is a new platform. Like when TV came out, that was new and strange, and now it's commonplace.
Absolutely. I mean, I thinking about this as a new platform. I was also a teacher, teaching high school up until this past end of last spring, and I had to pivot to online teaching, and I was so like, no, don't make me do this. Because we teachers, we want to be in the room with the students. We want, to be able to interact with you there, but it was still like thinking, okay, well, let's try to make it as good as we can. But I think that there's, that this platform allows you to have real-time interactions with people anywhere in the world, and so that's something that it's interesting, because I think the theater is so often about the local in a good way. It's you kind of get to know people within your local community, but with this you can be collaborating with people in different parts of the country, which I wound up doing on various things I worked on this year.
There's hope in it though, because it's like people are evolving despite the challenges. It's theater is evolving, and it's becoming applicable to this new age. And I don't know, it's interesting.
100%. I absolutely agree. I think the way that it's evolving is interesting. And it's also been a moment where, particularly when we think about how we've had, a lot of protests this spring and summer, a lot of theater companies and theater art makers have been using this downtime to think about how can we rethink the way we do things in terms of like equity, in terms of like racial equity and representation. So I'm hoping the evolution is not just about the form, but about who's telling the story and how are we telling it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So how do you think that's going to impact the future of theater once we get past COVID? How do you think it will be changed? Because everything will be changed,
How will things be changed once we get past this? I mean, it's very hard to say. I think that, there's a lot of different scenarios. I think the worst case scenario, not worst case, but something I would not want to see happen, let me put it that way, would be that a lot of smaller companies don't make it through this, and the big theater groups sort of go on the way that they always have. I'm hoping that this allows a lot of younger theater makers to really sort of say, all right, now there's these openings, now there's these opportunities, let's take advantage of them, almost like animals taking advantage of an ecological niche after an extinction event. I'm most concerned about those theater companies that have venue spaces where they can't pay the rent right now because they can't do shows there. So the access of theater makers to space is an extremely important conversation, and one that I don't think enough people are having. So the same way that I've seen so many announcements of restaurants from Austin closing that I'm just like, will one of the theater companies also, have to give up their space? And if so, what does that company and all the companies that rent from them do?
Mm-hmm. Like it's a bit of like a ecosystem. It's an ecosystem of businesses and people. And if one falls, there's impact throughout the rest of the ecosystem. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's exactly how I think of it.
So, what is your hope for the future of theater and the future of small businesses? What's the hope there? What's your opinion on how we can get through this?
My hope. What's my hope and opinion for how we can get through this? Gosh, gigantic questions. I think we'll do it by being bold rather than by being safe. At least in terms of art. Let's be safe in terms of masks.
Yeah, but I do agree. It's like our diversity protects us, and I feel like not enough people realize that. And it's not just like biologically. It's like in what we make. I'm reading this book. It's for an English class actually, but I'm reading this book called The Power of Myth, and it's actually a collection of like recordings. And anyway, so the guy in the book is talking about how basically there's not really been civilizations that have not had art. Like art is necessary for a civilization to run. And there's a whole the entire book is about that essentially. But I think it's interesting to think about it because that is correct. It's our diversity in business and in art which protects us. And if something's not working in business or in art and that's all we have, then who knows? There's like chaos in that community. But if we have a diversity of different subjects and things that we have, then it's we are more capable of keeping that area of like entertainment or art safe. So anyway, it's kind of a side rant there, but yeah.
It's true. It's very true.
Well, I'm out of questions, so I guess that's the conclusion of the interview. Thank you so much for the interview and for your time. Have a great day.
My pleasure. You too. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
And and welcome to another episode of Caminos Passion for Fashion. I'm your co-host, Coral, and today it's gonna be a little bit more festive. Today, we're gonna be doing a timeless Christmas tradition. What we're gonna be doing today is a DIY ugly Christmas sweater. I have never made one. I've actually never made an ugly Christmas sweater. I've always just bought them, I think. So I have this red Christmas sweater right here, and I went to my local craft store and I bought some materials to make an ugly Christmas sweater. So I'm just gonna include a time lapse of my whole process, and I'm gonna speak over it and just explain my steps. And you can follow along if you want, or you can just enjoy the process. You can enjoy the process. So let's get right into it.
So I started off by laying down my sweater so I could see what I was working with. Then I grabbed the felt pages and I cut the different circles for Frosty's body, obviously making them different sizes. Then I grabbed my hot glue gun and I was working. I hot glued it onto the sweater. I quickly realized that I needed to work little by little because the glue dried really fast. Then I grabbed some pom-poms and I hot glued them to Frosty's body to represent the buttons. And then I cut out a hat for Frosty. I also grabbed some googly eyes to make Frosty's eyes and a little nylon piece to make the nose. I also grabbed another piece of nylon and I cut to make his arms. I thought it just brought him more to life, and I thought it was super cute. I wanted to see what else I could add to the sweater, so I grabbed some pom-poms and I added them to the collar of the sweater. And then on top of that, I grabbed another little piece of nylon and I wrapped it around to top it all off.
So I just finished the ugly Christmas sweater. I was gonna add a lot more to it, but unfortunately I ran out of hot glue, but I got the main things that I wanted to get on there. So I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like, and then I'm gonna go try it on and show you all the final results. The big reveal. Oh my god, it looks so cute! So I made Frosty the Snowman. I tried my best. I'm not the most artistic person. And then I added a couple bit of like pom-poms up there. Yeah, I really like it. Oh my god. I'm gonna go try it on and I'll show you what it looks like. I hope you guys are ready for the big reveal. 3, 2, 1. Oh my god! It came out so good! Oh my god, I really like it! I am literally going to call up some friends to have a Zoom Christmas party just so I can wear this. Like, that's it. Like, I'm just gonna call them so I can wear it, and then, like, oh, party's over, just wanted to show you. Oh my god, I love it so much! This came out a lot better than I thought it was gonna come out. I really liked making an ugly Christmas sweater because I could put all my ideas into it. If I were to go to the store, you know, I could find one that I really like, but with this, it's like I can literally customize it to make it my own. Everything I want to put on there, I can. Unfortunately, I ran out of hot glue, and now I'm left with a bunch of little pom-poms. But I really like it. I think it's so adorable. The nose looks more like a crooked mouth. But, you know, I think that's what makes this Christmas sweater so special. That it was made by me and me only. So, I hope you guys liked it. I loved it. I really recommend trying this. And maybe, you know, you don't have to do, you know, Frosty the Snowman, but you can do anything you want. You can make a Christmas tree, you can make Santa, you can make Rudolph, you can make whoever, whatever you want. So yeah, I really recommend you try this because I'm actually really happy with this. It came out a lot better than I thought it was gonna come out. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you on the next episode. Bye, guys.
But I'm what you need. I know my high just started, but I hit a peak, yeah.
Hi, and welcome back to Music Minutes with Elizabeth. It's the holiday seasons, baby! And if you are like me, you start playing Christmas music as soon as November hits. So this week, if you might have guessed it already, the theme is Christmas music. Yes! Our four caminantes today are Ethan, Giselle, Amy, and me. Yay! We will be sharing our favorite Christmas songs. And yeah, let's get right into it. Our first song is brought to you by Giselle, and it is Santa Baby with none other than Summer Walker. If you don't know her, listen to her music. It's really good. Check it out. 10 out of 10. And this song, I didn't know she made a remix about this, but the song itself, I used to think, and this is a little bit like a TMI, but I used to think, like, until last month when somebody corrected me, that this song was about Santa, about Santa cheating on Mrs. Claus, with the woman singing the song. Yes, I know, it's kind of embarrassing, but I was corrected. It's not, because it's the Santa the woman is talking about is her husband or her boyfriend, you know? But yeah, the song is great. I feel like everybody knows the song anyway, so listen to it with Summer Walker. Our next song is Jingle Bell Rock, and there's a lot of remixes about this song too. It's like originally the most popular, or maybe not the most popular, but one of the most popular Christmas songs, I'll tell you that. And Amy is the one that recommended this song. It's a really good song, I'm not even gonna lie, but this song reminds me of Mean Girls. If you haven't watched the movie, go watch it. It's one of the best early 2000 movies. Go watch it. Anywho, it's like when the Mean Girls, it's when they dance in front of the whole school, Jingle Bell Rock, and I don't know, I really like that movie, so this song reminds me of that. This next song, I actually didn't know this song existed. It's one of the few Christmas songs that isn't overplayed for me. It's called December by Ariana Grande, and it is brought to you by Ethan. This song is about her being the present. She's under the Christmas tree, and she is gorgeous. I love her music. Most of the time I don't really understand what she's saying though, because she like murmurs or something. I don't know what she does, but it's great. You just look up the lyrics to know exactly what she's saying. But yeah, I really like the song. I'm going to listen to the whole album now, so you should too. And the last song is brought to you by me. I really like Spanish songs for Christmas, or in general really, and it just really makes me feel at home. And a runner-up for this one was Feliz Navidad, but I feel like that one's too classic and everybody knows that one no matter, you know, if you're Spanish speaking or not. But Burrito Sabanero is a classic. I really like it. And the little part, I just really like it. It's really cute. And then I also like that it sounds like a little kid is singing it, which brings me comfort and joy. And Christmas, all about family. It reminds me of family too. I don't know why. It doesn't say anything really about family, but it does remind me of family, so that's great. And that is it for today, guys. I hope you had a great time with me, enjoyed these few minutes. Great Christmas, great holidays, New Year's, same you, new you, do you. Bye, thank you. Why does it always make me so white? This song is actually really good. It's the same. No, it's not the same. I need to breathe. I'm trying to be more energetic. Dookie 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 da. Jesus. It is brought to you by Ethan. Did not write the song. It would have been cool if he did, but he did not. Brought to you, oh my god. It was Ethan recommended this. My birthday's in December. Hi, how are you? But yeah, I don't really have much to say. It's just about her being a present, which, yes, everybody's a present. Yay!
He's several hours late, skylines growing dim, while others deck the halls. You dream of decking him. My choice in men has always been pathetic, I suppose. The guy who stole my credit cards, the guy who tried on my clothes. And so a row of self-help books line my bedroom shelf. Well, there's one rule those books forgot: you never fall in love with an elf. The holidays will seem bittersweet while you're alone in bed. But how can one girl ever compete with a magic fat guy on a flying sled? Go ask 100 single girls from here to Philadelphia. They'll say it's clear as day, you're in for sleepless nights if you date a guy
tight, so never fall in love. Never fall in love. Never fall in love with an elf. It's as clear as a jingle bell. If you are single, well, don't fall in love with an elf.
It's Marina Gonzalez, and I'm here to introduce this week's book club. Today we'll be reading A Mexican American Sonnet by Iliana Rocha, and it's a very interesting discussion. I couldn't be there, unfortunately, but my colleagues always have good things to say, so stay tuned.
Hello, we're the Caminos Literary Collective, and welcome to Book Club.
Hi, I'm Amy.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Itzel.
And I'm Kiona.
And today we're going to be reading Mexican American Sonnet by Iliana Rocha.
We have the same ankles, hips, nipples, knees. Our bodies bore the forks, tenedors, we used to eat. What do we eat? Darkness from the cathedral floors. The heart's woe in abundance. Please let us go through the world touching what we want. Knock things over. Slap and kick and punch until we get something right. ¿Verdad? Isn't it true? My father always asks. Your father is the ghost of mine and vice versa. And when did our past stop recognizing themselves? It was always like used to us to first person, yo. To disrupt a hurricane's path with our own inwardness. Come on, huracan, you watery migraine. Prove us wrong for once. This sadness lasts. Esta tristeza perdura. Say it both ways so language doesn't bite back, but stays.
I guess a question that I sort of have is, what is this poem like? How does this poem resonate with you, or what does it make you think about?
Hurricanes.
Come on, huracan, you watery migraine. I had never thought of it like a watery migraine, That's sort of an interesting phrase, an unusual phrase. It sort of makes you think.
I think of religion.
Yeah, that's a really powerful. What makes you think of that?
She says darkness from cathedral floors, and I think of like a Catholic church. And did I say, is that like a Catholic church?
Yeah, a cathedral is like a big church. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think of like, her father, and usually it's like the father that's really into religion and wants his kids, at least in my experience, like it's always the dad that wants their kids to like follow into the same religion, have their same beliefs, and like go with the way the Bible goes. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that sort of like strictness is better than the father. While the mothers and are usually more they love you, without condition, whereas fathers do too, I guess. I don't have a father, but I would assume so, and it's just in a different way.
Yeah, and I think like the way they how do you say, like they involve hurricanes by saying to disrupt a hurricane's path with our own inwardness. They mean like to disrupt their beliefs with what we actually believe and actually stand with what we believe. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that. That's actually really powerful. Perception, Amy. Oh,
yes.
I like the it was always like us to first person, Joe. Like sort of like how we like how we sort of are sometimes, in our culture, we're taught to maybe like deny our own experiences or deny like what we feel or how we are, but there is power in like that, like also saying, Joe, like the power to reclaim that, or just to say like it was always like, or just maybe she's also commenting on the fact that maybe we do, Mexican American, as that American side, we do think about ourselves in like a more individualistic way. That was just what I was thinking about.
What is this poem trying to say? Because I'm a little confused.
I know. That's what
I don't get the title, like Mexican American Sonnet. Like I think of like father's point of view. When I read the poem, I thought of like, father's point of view, following your dad's footsteps, and then like involving what you actually think of. But what does it mean? Like the title, like I don't get that part.
Well, in the end it says, say it both ways so language doesn't bite back but stays. And so was this supposed to be?
Wait, I'll be back there.
Was it supposed to be about language? Sorry, my phone cut out.
That's kind of what it made me think of. I thought of like the two different sides to like one story.
What were the sides you thought of?
Mexican and American, like it says
Oh.
in the title. Like to me, it seems like she's describing these two different sides of herself and how they compare and contrast one another. That's what I understood from it, but that could be wrong.
Like breaking inwardness, I guess that does make sense.
Yeah,
I don't get the part about eating darkness from cathedral floors.
I don't either. Maybe because like religion's like everything's a sin. I'm sorry.
No, like really, like it can feel like that. Like
yeah, like well, maybe because I read like parts of the Bible where it's like, oh, wearing jewelry is a sin for women. Something like just like the smallest things that people do every day turns into a sin. Does that make sense?
Being short is a sin.
Exactly. So
but
it's
weren't
like,
they all short when they were back then?
So I'm assuming we're not sinning. I don't know what they're.
So in comparison, would we be tall, or is it like a new? Sorry, that's off topic.
I guess to revisit, like, I guess people's questions about like the topic of like, what does this poem mean? Its title. I guess there's a lot of interweaving like stories within the poem. Like there's the thing about like the language, like the forks, tenedores. There's like darkness from cathedral floors. You have the element of Catholicism, Spanish and English, like the verdad, like that like colloquialism, like huracan, watery migraine, all this like weather stuff and all this like going back and forth and all this. So I don't know, like maybe it's just trying to blend all these disparate experiences together, but I don't know. What do y'all think?
Yeah, Catholicism is kind of like, it resonates both with like Europeans and Latin American communities, and it kind of does describe both sides, because the Europeans like spread Catholicism everywhere, and they like sometimes they force natives to participate in it, but still for Latin Americans it's a really strong part of their culture.
Yeah. And it's
also
like,
sorry.
Oh no, Kiona, please go.
No, I was just gonna say I also get that idea or like that feeling of mixing and like coming together, especially in that second stanza where she says, "Please let us go through the world, touching what we want, knock things over, slap and kick and punch until we get something right."
Actually, I hadn't even thought about that. Can you talk more about that a bit? That's actually really interesting.
I think we've touched on it before, like the ideology or whatever the word is about like these things that you need to be if you are two things. Like, does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah, we have.
And it's like you're fighting to figure out what needs to be done. You're testing the waters, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is all just like what I'm hearing from my point of view from it.
Oh yeah, I definitely resonate with that, and I feel like that's actually something that's really powerful, because a lot of like, especially reading the title, like it's eating darkness from cathedral floors, about not feeling like I guess not feeling entirely safe and secure in what you've been taught, or feeling like, is this right? Am I doing this right? Am I true? I mean, are people going to accept this? Like at the end, say it both ways, so language doesn't bite back but stays. Usually a sonnet is organized in a fashion where the last two lines, the couplet, sort of like resolve the issue that's been present in the like first four stanzas. So I guess the issue, as I'm sort of hearing it, as Kiona is saying, and as we all sort of touched upon, is that like not feeling like you belong in either place, or feeling this internal like I guess dissonance or something, and then like But at the end, we do have to, a lot of the time, say it both ways, not just both languages, but just both cultures, you know, all the cultures we're a part of, you know, so that's actually, I like that. I like that. Yeah. I was talking with one of my friends and it's like, there's that like thing that like, there's this like, purity is so instilled in like, as like a virtue of so many communities across the world. And how do we like, as impure people, I guess, if you can think of it, you know, how we've been taught or how that's been put upon us, you know, as mestizos, as mixed people, you know, how, you know, I don't know, how can we reconcile that? So, yeah. But does anyone have anything else? We can share final thoughts now, if you want.
This has me thinking of like the sentence that Kiona said in the second stanza. Like, it got me thinking like parents wants us to do whatever, like do what we think it's right for us, and then do what we think is like, oh, if you want to stand for that, okay, we'll support you. But then at the same time, they want you to go back to the way they want us to think the way they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like they want us to like, if like, not saying that, well, my dad used to be a little more like conservative, as in like he wanted like, oh, the woman stays home, does the cleaning, does everything for the man, serves the man, is there for him.
Mm-hmm.
But like lately he's like, he used to want us to do that, but then he's like, as time passes by, he was like, oh, okay, so you need to do what's for yourself. She's like, don't depend on a man. You don't need him. You get your education, you get your job done. And this kind of thinks of like, but then at the same time, he wants us to go back to being like a conservative family, which is like, he wants us to do what we want, but he wants us to go back. You know what I mean? Like, get your own job, but you still have to like serve your man. Does that make sense? Like, serve the person you marry. And it's like, it reminds me of like the second stanza, because it's like, you want us to fight for ourselves. You want us to do what we want for us, but then you want us to come back to what you think is right. And it goes with the same thing of like, oh, being Mexican American, because Mexican, they have like a whole different, how do you say it? Not like idea, religion, but like, they have different beliefs about like how a marriage and a relationship should go.
Yeah.
So in America, it's just like,
kind of saying like ideology, you know, like,
yeah. And then in America, you're just like, oh no, you get your own job and he gets his own job and y'all split everything. Equality. Well, supposed equality, but equality. And that's exactly what, I feel like I understand more of the title now, because it's just like, that's really split because they're completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the same time, they want us to come together. But then we, like, some people, like including me, I want to go against that and be like, no, I want to do my own thing. I don't want to get married right now. Or
culturally, socially, how do we like reconcile those two parts of ourselves, or like what we're taught and what we believe? You know, it's hard to do that, you know, because it's not like you want to, it's not like you don't want, you know, it's like, how do we like love all parts of ourselves and embrace that, but also like know that like there's some, you know, just, we don't want to be, I don't know, I guess, does anyone want to talk about that? Kona, were you about to say something?
I was just going to say again, like I said, it's kind of like a subtle compare and contrast kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I think, a big word like that I get from hearing it's like reconciliation. Like, how do we...
Bless you.
Are you okay? Bless you. Hello.
Bless you.
How do we like reconcile, bring together disparate parts, disparate identities, you know, that are the same in some ways, but radically different in others. And
at the beginning, they're trying to reconcile it because they're like, we all have the same ankles, hips, nipples, knees, and like bodies. We're all the same, even though we're like have our differences.
Yeah, even though like, yeah, that's pretty powerful. And like at the end of the day, and there's a lot of like chaos that we can like just hold in our bodies, and like a lot of like feelings of what do you call it, like, you know, because of conflict. And how do you just go to that? Like we talked about this earlier, actually, like kind of about like, you know, when we were talking earlier, like how about when you claim an identity, it sort of boxes you in, and like you aren't as open anymore in a way, because now you've, you know, sort of closed some doors so that you can embrace some sort of, so it's about, you know, going back to occasionally just like, but we all did, we have the same ankles, hips, nipples, knees, but yeah, which is a sweet little okay, well, I think we'd love to hear your comments, everybody.
What in your, like, do you agree with how we viewed the poem, or do y'all like view it a completely different way? Because it's interesting to hear how people interpret
Yeah, because in the end of the day, everyone has different parents and like it's different lives. So I could feel like I think I would have like, well, all of us, we all have a completely different style and how our parents want us to be. And it's just like, I mean, what do you like? How is your life? Like, do your parents completely support you, or do they have their things that they're against?
Yes, tell us, and just we're in it together. Okay.
Hey everybody, I'm back. We hope you enjoyed that discussion. Anything you'd like to say or add to it, you can go ahead and leave them in the comments, or you can DM us at ATX Caminos on Instagram, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. If you'd like to let us know any other readings that you'd like us to do, or any way that you want to contact us or want us to participate in anything, you can go ahead and DM us as well. Stay tuned for our Wednesday post where we highlight different authors, and you can let us know who else you want us to highlight as well. We're glad that you came to watch us. Stay tuned for the next Vamonos. Bye.